Dive into the start of summer at Whole Foods Market. Check out their Summer Splash event with sales on fresh organic produce, organic strawberries, and a fan favorite sale on Ben & Jerry's and Talenti. Explore deals on grill-friendly meats like organic air-chilled chicken breast, beef and chicken kebabs, all with no antibiotics ever from our meat department. Plus, grab easy sides from prepared foods and cool off with refreshing drinks. Kick off your summer and shop in store or online at Whole Foods Market today.
Coming up on this episode of DL Weekly, good news for Disneyland Forward. A familiar face is scheduled to receive some TLC.
Some news from Walt Disney World. Fantasmic dining packages return. We talk with our friends Lyndsey and Bethany about Pixar Fest and more. DL Weekly starts now.
Oh boy, it sure is great to see you, Weekly Tears. Come on, Goofy. Gors.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of DL Weekly for the week of May 15th, 2024. I'm Teresa Urban.
And filling in for Tag while he's away, I'm Vern Weisensell.
Well, we would like to thank everyone who supports the show. This week, we would like to give a special shout out to Walt H., Jolie K., and KDC for your continued support. If you would like to help support the show and make sure that we keep bringing you the latest news and information, discussion, and interviews about Disneyland, head on over to dlweekly.net/support.
Now let's get to the news.
Well, last week, as we were recording the show, the Anaheim City Council gave their final approval for the Disneyland Forward project. Ken Potrock announced that in the first 10 years, Disney will be investing at least $1.9 billion in the resort. They estimate that the project will bring 4,500 operational jobs to the Disneyland Resort, as well as nearly 9,000 construction jobs over the first 10 years.
Now, you said billion with a B,
Billion
right?
with a B. They are not messing around with this big project. This is super exciting. So I feel like now that it's been approved and Disney has the green light, we're going to finally start getting some more solid details about what this project is. So far, the project's just kind of been blue sky. And this was the huge first step to get the city on board and get the final approval so that they can move forward. Because again, for those of you that have been, listening and keeping up with this, step number one was to try and get spaces rezoned, because there's a lot of space at Disneyland that right now is zoned for parking only. So as much as we're looking at these surface parking lot thinkings, why don't they put more attractions there? They couldn't. But now with the final approvals, that's all of that, those hurdles are kind of out of the way now. And so they can start getting creative and really transforming the place.
Yeah, it's got to be difficult when you want to do something, but you just legally can't.
Yeah.
So to have that out of the way, that's huge and good for them. And just looking at those numbers, 4,500 operational jobs moving past once the construction is done, and 9,000 construction jobs as it's going on. That's huge for the resort and for local economy. That's awesome stuff. Yeah.
So in the article written by Ken that was on the Disney Parks blog, he's talking about, just kind of a lot of, this is exciting for us Disney fans, but this is also really exciting for the community in the city of Anaheim as well. Cal State Fullerton's economic impact study projected an increased revenues of about $15 million annually for Anaheim for each $1 billion that Disney invests. So since they're looking at 1.9, we're just going to round because, close enough to $2 billion. That's about $30 million annually that the city is going to be coming in, which is going to help for community services, including fire and police, parks, libraries, all of those good things, which is super, super exciting. The other thing too, Disney has committed to a unique benefit package for Anaheim as well as the residents, which includes $30 million for affordable housing, $8 million for parks, $85 million in traffic improvements and pedestrian safety, and then just continued investment in workforce development programs. So it's just crazy. So this is great news for us Disney fans. I think this is really great news for the city of Anaheim and its residents. Another figure that was in here that I thought was really interesting, you were just mentioning, how many jobs that this is creating. So 45 operational jobs to Disneyland Resort. So that means going forward, once this is all set in place.
4,500.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Not 45,000. That's a lot.
No, you said 45.
So going forward, 4,500 operational jobs are being brought to the resort because they are expanding the parks, they are expanding the shopping, they are expanding the dining. So they're going to need people to be able to bring those experiences to guests. But the thing that's crazy, I hadn't heard this before, and I quote from Ken Potrock, there are more than 2,200 people that apply for hourly roles every week at the Disneyland Resort. That's great. 2,200 people applying just for the hourly roles at Disneyland every single week. So
that's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln is undergoing a major refurbishment. Disneyland filed permits valued at $5 million in updates with the city of Anaheim. According to city records, the extended refurbishment will replace show elements, lighting, audio, and show systems. The permits also indicates an existing platform will be replaced, a new turntable will be installed, along with mechanical, electrical, and plumbing work will be performed on the attraction. Which, the first thing that came to my mind was plumbing work. What are they doing with plumbing work?
Well, I thought that one stood out to me because remember last year when we were at the parks all together as a group, and we were doing our VIP tour. We were excited because we were going to go into the Opera House to see the Disney 100 display with our guide, and we walked over there and it was closed because there was some sort of plumbing issue and they couldn't open. Remember?
Oh, sure.
Remember
okay.
that?
Yep.
So
okay.
That one stood out to me because of our very strange, unique experience.
Sure.
So I was like, well, we know that the plumbing might need some help because of running into that.
See, I had forgotten about that, and my brain went to some of the 4D theater experiences that I've had where they spritz water on you. That's why I was so confused.
This is not like the Muppets in 3D or whatever.
Yes.
That's so funny.
Okay.
But the thing that's really, really, really exciting about this, just in general, is Lincoln is one of those just like classic attractions that a lot of regular park guests or the vacation type guests may not even know is there. They may not understand the history of why this attraction is so important. But for us Disneyland geeks, this one is near and dear to our heart because of the history of this attraction, because it came from the 1964-65 World's Fair, because the Lincoln animatronic was so near and dear to Walt himself, and just Lincoln, the person, was someone that he really looked up to and really admired. So sometimes I think because the average vacation goer does not go and experience Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, the attendance isn't always so great. So there's always this thing kind of in the back of our minds. What if they decide that because Disneyland is landlocked, but I mean, forget that we just talked about Disneyland Forward. They got lots of space to work with now, but
yes.
But Disneyland, there's only so much space. So it's always kind of this horrible looming thought, like what if they decide that they need the space and they can use it better for something else. All of us crazy Disney fans, of course, would riot because this is an important attraction. But flip side, Walt even said the parks are never finished. Things are always changing and moving forward. But yeah, so anyway, so this just makes my heart happy because Disney wouldn't be putting in this big of an investment if this was a short-term thing. So
definitely.
This means Lincoln is here to stay for quite some time. The one difficult thing right now, though, is the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln attraction did close back on April 16th for an extended refurbishment, and a reopening date has not been set. The Orange County Register is reporting that they believe the show will remain closed at least through June 19th. So this is big refurb going into Disneyland, but it is a beloved experience. So very excited to see what they do. And even some of these things, like the plumbing, we might not even notice has been plussed and has been looked at and cared for. Well, this past weekend was Mother's Day, and Disneyland was in on the celebrations. The parks provided thousands of fresh carnation flowers that were gifted to all of the mothers visiting. Special themed brunches and treats were also available for purchase, of course.
And I think that is so sweet that they do that with the carnations being a long time thing that they've been doing for many years. And I'm just imagining the thousands upon thousands of carnations that's got to take.
I wonder, I've not been to Disneyland for Mother's Day, so I've never experienced this. If you are listening and you have been to Disneyland during Mother's Day, maybe you can let me know. I want to know what it smells like walking into that park. Because you've got this big table with all of these flowers with cast members waiting to gift them to the mothers entering the park. I just wonder how much the fragrance hits when you're walking into the park and what that experience is like.
Oh, yeah. Pixar Fest is now in full swing. Over the weekend, 6 themed marketplace booths opened for guests to enjoy more themed Pixar eats. The marketplaces are opened every day from 10:30 to 9 p.m. Unlike other food events at DCA, a tasting card is not available.
This is exciting because this was kind of the final. Oh, you haven't actually looked at the menus for these.
I was perusing these a bit, and I would be eating my way through. I would put on 15 pounds in a week. Easy.
Well, I have good news for you.
Is it still going to be going when we're there?
These will still be open when we're visiting in June, so you will get to experience all of these Pixar eats and treats.
I'm going to have to bring my stretchy shorts.
You're going to have to bring your... They everything looks delicious. We've reported on the different items before. If you stay tuned for the discussion topic, Lyndsey was actually able to go and try some of these. She was at an event that allowed her to try some of these offerings before the marketplaces were in place. But from what I've seen online, obviously we have not gotten to try these things ourselves. Rave reviews, though. A lot of people are very excited and very much enjoying the different offerings at these marketplace booths.
And one thing that I've been very impressed by, just the light perusing that I've been able to do looking at the menus, I'm so impressed with how much they're really being very mindful of getting a lot more of impossible meats and other vegetarian items being available for people. You know, myself being mostly vegetarian and, you know, having a lot of vegetarian friends, I always am looking for those opportunities. And I know that there are growing amount of the population is becoming vegan or, you know, having other special dietary needs. So I really appreciate seeing that is a growing thing on Disney menus.
Ooh, just you wait. I need to show you just the entire Pixar Fest foodie guide, because this is just a small sampling of the Pixar Fest offerings and foods at these marketplace booths. There's also lots and lots that are available throughout the resort. So you and I the air will have to go through that, and you can get even more excited about all the delicious eats.
And then I'm going to have to get even stretchier shorts. Yes,
then you're going to have even stretchier shorts. Tag and I were joking that even though we're going to be in the parks for a week in June, it's still with the offerings that are going on, the seasonal offerings, as well as all of the places that we just want to go either try or retry, or some favorites that we have. We still feel like, holy cow, is a week even going to be enough time to get through all of the food items that we're excited to enjoy while we're there? But time will tell. I think because there's 4 of us, we can do things like get the panda bao and just split it in 4 ways instead of each of us trying, so we can kind of do a little sampling as we go. Well, for this next bit of news, we're actually going to head on over to Walt Disney World. Weird, confusing. Are we a little bit lost? Possibly, but we have a really exciting update and an opening date for their version of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. June 28th, visitors can go visit Tiana and her friends on her new adventure to find the missing ingredient for her Mardi Gras party, which is music. So that was a new one, because we knew that the storyline of this was she was on a quest for the quote-unquote missing ingredient.
Yep.
Immediately, everyone kind of jumped to, like, cooking ingredients.
Sure. Yep.
Oh, no. Dusty at Mice Chat uncovered the missing ingredient is actually music. So she's on a journey searching for music, which makes far more sense, because we're like, how are we supposed to, like, quote-unquote find missing ingredients? Because we thought is it going to say look for a bell pet? Like, is it like a game? Like, how is this going to work? So this just kind of brings it all together, makes it make much, much more sense.
And it's been a while since I watched the movie, but if I remember correctly from the movie, it was always her father saying, you just got to add more Tabasco.
Oh, yeah.
So for the actual ingredients.
Yep.
So when you say to me, Tiana and the missing ingredient, I'm like, well, she'd always just added more Tabasco sauce, didn't she?
Yeah.
But
this you got to remember, though, that the attraction has a different story. It's a story after the film.
No, totally.
So, yes, I see what you're saying with Tabasco being, you know, you got that's always what she needed. She always had to add a little more Tabasco to kind of make everything taste correct.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, when you're thinking New Orleans and you're thinking, you know, what makes New Orleans, you got to have the music. I mean, every time we have been there, that's like one of the things that we do. We find a good place where you can just sit and listen to music. So that's a perfect addition. So excellent theming, I think. Something
that's very exciting for Walt Disney World is there are going to be previews of the new attraction. So there are going to be preview opportunities ahead of the official grand opening for Florida-based cast members, annual pass holders, and eligible Disney Vacation Club members soon. According to the article on the Disney Parks blog, you got to keep your, if you fall into one of those groups, keep your eye out for more information coming to you starting soon. They say May 14th, which is the day that we're recording this episode, if not sooner. So keep your eyes open. The other thing that is interesting is, like, yes, this is exciting. We're very excited for Walt Disney World. We're very excited to see what this attraction looks like. But the thing that's just really exciting for us Disneyland folk is the Disneyland version of Splash Mountain closed I think it was about 3 months after Walt Disney World's version closed. So with that means that we are almost there in getting our version open and being able for all of us to experience. So there's still no official date yet for Disneyland, but we're getting closer and closer. Again, it was about 3 months between when the Walt Disney World version closed and when the Disneyland version closed. So I would say about 3 months, maybe even sooner than that, which is super exciting. Puts us for a mid to late fall opening.
Very cool.
Probably, I feel like maybe it'll be a little sooner, though, because they did everything at Walt Disney World first. So I feel like maybe things are going to go a little quicker at Disneyland because they did it once. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll let you know as soon as we know when the official opening date for Disneyland is.
Yeah. Well, Fantasmic returns to Disneyland on May 24th, and this past week, dining packages with reserved seating became available again. There has been a change in the lineup. Fantasmic dining packages will be offered at the River Belle Terrace and Blue Bayou restaurants. Be sure to visit the Disneyland website or app to make your reservations.
Yeah, so this is a little bit of a change because if you remember, before Fantasmic closed, you could also do a dining package over at Hungry Bear. It was kind of like a grab and go picnic style dining package. But so just Blue Bayou and River Belle Terrace will offer the dining packages with the reserved seating. I have not seen released menus on what the dining packages will include. Typically, it's been a prefixed meal where it's Blue Bayou's usually 4 courses, and same with River Belle Terrace. You kind of have a version of their regular menu with a special Fantasmic themed dessert included in it as well. But we haven't seen yet what those new menus are. We do know what they had been when Fantasmic closed. Blue Bayou, for one, has actually updated its menu since the last time that they offered the Fantasmic dining packages. So it's hard to say if the menus will be the same or if it's going to be a refresh menu, just like their regular dining menu is. But yeah, so the big thing too is since Fantasmic is coming back on May 24th and the official dining packages weren't available for people to reserve until like last week, with dining packages, as you know, you have to book out in advance. So anybody that did have dining reservations either at Blue Bayou or at River Belle for the 24th forward, you do have an option. Speak with your server to see if you can do the dining package. So even though you didn't quote unquote make a reservation for the dining package, they still will have some availability for those who had prior reservations, if that makes sense.
Very cool.
But make sure, like Vern said, make sure you go to the website or the app to get your reservations in place. I 100% went on and snagged a reservation for the 4 of us when we're there in June because, as you know, Tag and I absolutely adore Fantasmic. James and Vern both love it too. So figured we needed to celebrate and do a dining package for its glorious return.
Yes.
Well,
Can Tag still do the whole dance?
He hasn't done it for a while. We'll have to, when he comes back from his cruise, we'll have to like test him on it and see if he's still able to do all of Mickey's choreography or not.
Because he used to have it all spot down. It was impressive.
Sure did. There are updates with it coming back, so Mickey's choreography may have changed slightly. We will find out on the 24th.
Well,
Dive into the start of summer at Whole Foods Market. Check out their Summer Splash event with sales on fresh organic produce, organic strawberries, and a fan favorite sale on Ben & Jerry's and Talenti. Explore deals on grill-friendly meats like organic air-chilled chicken breast, beef and chicken kebabs, all with no antibiotics ever from our meat department. Plus, grab easy sides from prepared foods and cool off with refreshing drinks. Kick off your summer and shop in store or online at Whole Foods Market today.
I up, down, touch the ground. I think of things to chew, like honey and milk and chocolate. With a hefty, happy appetite, I'm a hefty, happy poo. A rumbly in my tumbly means it's time for snacks.
Well, this week in SnackChat, we are actually highlighting one of the restaurants that's coming back for the Fantasmic dining packages. We're actually going to go, we just finished up in Adventureland, and as we leave Adventureland, we're going to swing by Riverbell Terrace to talk about their offerings and what they've got on their menu.
And it looks like a very nice menu. They are open for brunch and for dinner. Right now I'm looking at the brunch menu. We've got a very nice buttermilk fried chicken sandwich and a country Cuban sandwich and the Big Bell sandwich, the Nashville hot chicken, brisket mac and cheese, and house-made slaw.
There's a lot going on that sandwich. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, not even being a meat eater, I'm looking at that saying, yeah, I might make an exception for this one.
Well, now, I mean, someone might need to let us know, because I'm looking at in all transparency, this is one of the places we need to visit more frequently. I think I've been to Riverbell once, and it was for breakfast. So it's one of those places that for whatever reason, we know it's there, we know it's an offering, but we always tend to forget about it or think about it, but then get distracted by other food. So I have not eaten at Riverbell for a while, but I'm in reading this and reading like the fried chicken sandwich and the Cuban sandwich. It sounds like you can tell what's on the sandwich, and then it says with fries for both of them. And this does not say with, because at first I was like, well, wait, is the at first it sounded to me like, oh, the mac and cheese is piled on this sandwich. But then I was like, well, wait, is it maybe on this? I think it's on the side.
Yeah,
or no, I don't think it's on the side. I think it's all on the sandwich.
You think so?
I think so, because the fries, the chicken sandwich and the Cuban sandwich it says with fries. This just is a list. So I think it's a list of everything that's topped on the Big Bell sandwich. Oh, goodness.
That just makes it even
It might be a fork and knife type of sandwich.
You know, I'm kind of, like maybe an open face.
Yeah. Well,
okay,
and
sure.
if breakfast comfort foods are more your thing, they do have kind of more traditional breakfast as well as some unique offerings as well. There's an American breakfast. There's loaded house fries with eggs. That's kind of fun. Biscuits and gravy. There's apple pie pancakes. Yum. And then it just
that
says
graham cracker streusel and caramel sauce on top. Wonderful.
And then it also says a la mode. I would assume that's if you want your apple pie pancakes a la mode. But it doesn't say that specifically.
If you want a scoop of vanilla ice cream on your scrambled eggs,
or
I'm
like
not
your
going to
biscuits
judge
and
you.
gravy. Yeah, that's
what you do is what you do. Don't let my judgy eyes make you feel bad.
And for the plant-based offering, there's roasted squash, which is heirloom tomato sauce, heritage grains, succotash, greens, and tofu. That's just brunch. We haven't even gotten to dinner.
Yeah.
So dinner, the comfort items, they have the Big Bell sandwich again. There's loaded house fries, barbecue burnt ends pasta, pork chops, black and sustainable fish, chicken pot pie soup. That sounds delicious. A farmhouse salad, and then more plant-based options. They still have the roasted squash. There's something called deviled meatballs, which is grits, mustard, barbecue, and peppers and onions. And then, of course, desserts, because you can't not have desserts.
Well, of course.
They've got house-made pudding.
And
there's something called rocket pudding.
Blue raspberry and sour cherry with popping candy.
AKA Pop Rocks.
Well, yes.
And then there's also a cherry oat cobbler, which is cherry compote and toasted oat streusel. We might need to put this on our list because it doesn't sound like the most I don't know how to say this, unique food. Like you could only get this in Disneyland Dambatu types of food, but it sounds delicious. Most of this menu I would be very happy ordering and tasting.
And it's a menu that, sure, you could probably get it elsewhere besides just Disneyland, but it seems like, for us being in the Midwest, we can't get any of this around here.
There are things on this list that are just not stuff that we can. You're right. You're very right. So price-wise, I'd say River Bell's pretty. It is a sit-down restaurant. So it is a little bit more than, say, the counter service, but breakfast items range from $15 to the most expensive thing being one of the sandwiches at $26. And then same thing with dinner. Dinner pricing ranges from $18 up to $27 is the most expensive item I'm seeing here. So
yeah, for the pork chop.
And it sounds like they're decent and possibly large portion sizes, so this might even be a shareable option too. Yeah. And they do have a signature cocktail, the Wildberry Mule. So if you're in a cocktail sort of mood, that's Tito's handmade vodka with blackberry puree, lime and ginger syrup, and blackberries. Ooh, that actually sounds really nice. The retired bartender in me is looking at that recipe saying, okay, they did that right. Okay, well done. Need to talk about the beers, because that one just has a hilarious name. The Smog City Brewing Company Sabertooth Squirrel. Yes, the Sabertooth Squirrel. Tell us about that beer. So Smog City Brewing Company is not one that I'm familiar with, but just reading the description, it's a hoppy amber ale from Torrance, California, and it's a heavy beer, 7.0 ABV, 60 IBU, so that's going to have a little bitterness to it, but it's a hoppy amber ale, so it's going to have a little sweetness as well. So, from what I can read of it, that sounds very enticing. It should be very flavorful, and one should do ya. I think I need to try this non-alcoholic beverage. It's called the Mississippi Mud Pie, which sounds delicious, but the thing that's confusing to me is when you read the description. First thing that's in this drink, first ingredient is Sprite, along with chocolate fudge syrup and cream, topped with whipped cream and crumbled chocolate cream cookies. I'm not understanding how this mixture would taste, but I'm very curious. Oh, no. I was like, wait, is it a different type of Sprite? But no, Sprite, chocolate fudge syrup and cream. Topped with whipped cream and it has the registered trademark symbol, so it's Sprite. It's just Sprite. It's straight up Sprite mixed with these other ingredients. I feel like I might need to know. I might need to try this one for science. I'm so confused yet so intrigued. Because when you say mud pie, I'm expecting something rich and creamy with ice cream or something. Right? I don't know, more of a cream based drink. Yep. Or like a coffee base. Sure. Oh, yeah. I'm very curious about this one. Yeah, because I'm thinking like one of those Kahlua based drinks or something. It's non-alcoholic. So sure, but yeah. Something more like a chocolate milkshake type. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a malt. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely gonna have to try that one out. So I guess I know where we're going for breakfast at least one day, huh? I don't know if I can try the Mississippi Mud Pie or I guess not Mississippi Mud Pie. That's definitely an ice cream flavor at one of our local places here. So the mud. Oh no, it is. Yeah, it says Mississippi Mud Pie. Yeah. I am curious about the Mississippi Mud Pie beverage though, for sure. I don't know if I could do it for breakfast, but
If I can do a Smoke City Brewing Company saber-tooth squirrel for breakfast.
What's wrong with lunch or dinner? We could go there for a later meal in the day.
Okay, that works too.
Well, if you enjoy listening to the show, please consider rating and reviewing the show on your podcast app like iTunes. It helps other Disney fans become weekly tiers and part of our community. Plus, it's a great way to support the show and just let us know how much you're enjoying it.
Pilots, we've detected some producer questions near Jakku. Report to your DLWeekly vessels and make the jump to hyperspace. The 7-7 Squadron will provide support during your trivia mission. Good luck, and may the Force be with you.
Welcome to Trivia Land, where we've got one me-submitted question and 4 listener-submitted questions to see what Teresa knows. Are you...
Hopefully I know a little bit more than what I knew last week, because last week was a little sad.
Well,
Hopefully the weekly tiers at home did way better than how I did last week, because that was a tough one.
You know, sometimes the listeners give and sometimes the listeners take, and we will.
They were stumping, that's for sure. They were stumping us.
Well, we will see how they do for you this week, and the one that I found because I was having fun and looking things up, and it came to me. So we'll start with that one right away, shall we?
Let's shall.
All right. So this past Sunday was Mother's Day, and we've already talked about some Mother's Day stuff, and I stumbled across a Mother's Day fun fact.
Ooh.
The longest flying Tinkerbell in Disneyland history flew from 1983 to 2005 and was allowed with doctor permission to fly while pregnant with both of her children, who were born in 1984 and 1987. What was her name?
Oh, as you were reading this question, I was like, he's going to ask what her name is. And I know what her name is. And it's one of those, it's tucked back in the Rolodex of odd Disney facts, odd and obscure Disney facts that one should know. And she had she had her name was like fun. I know she was a circus performer.
She was an aerialist.
Mm-hmm. Can I get a hint?
She could have been a geologist.
That just makes me think Roxy, and that is not her name. Maybe I'm thinking of maybe I'm completely off. You know what? I'm completely off because I was thinking of the original Tinkerbell.
Oh.
And you just told me that I got so sidetracked. Okay, so we're going to go with Roxy, not the one that I was trying to pull out of my brain, because I was trying to remember the original Tinkerbell's name. But this is not, I just realized, this is not the original one that you're talking about.
The original one would have been pre-1983.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I got too sidetracked in trying to rack my brain for the name that I forgot to listen to the details of the question, which is very important.
Yes, details of the question are important. So you're looking for who flew from 1983 to 2005.
Yes. But yeah, Roxy.
You're going with Roxy.
I had to. I'm going to be very honest and transparent with the listeners. I was racking my brain. I needed to look it up, and since I then confirmed I was thinking of the wrong person because I got myself distracted. Tiny Klein was the original Tinkerbell that flew across the sky. So Tiny Klein was the one I was racking my brain for.
Yes.
That was the only one that I actually knew the name of that I couldn't remember the name of. So because of your hint, we're going to go with Roxy.
Roxy, no last name.
Yep. Just Roxy.
Okay.
Like Cher.
Okay. Like Cher or Sting or Madonna or, all right. Or Meatloaf or, all right. Your second question from listener Sarah P. You remember we talked about Westcott, that is, or would have been. Mm-hmm. So there would have been a 300-foot replica to the 180-foot spaceship Earth within Westcott.
Yes.
What was the other variation to the West Coast version? So it would have been 300 feet.
It was going to be like double cased. Does that make sense? So it was going to be like encased in like glass.
Glass or...
I don't know. Something clear.
Final answer?
Something clear? I'm going to go with glass.
Okay.
I don't think it would have been crystal. I feel like that would have been way too expensive.
All right.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Encased in glass. Final answer.
Yes.
All right.
Like it was like a double sphere. Does that make sense?
Yep, sure. Your third question from listener Andy M. How many teacup ride vehicles make up the Mad Tea Party at Disneyland?
That's a good question because there's 3, I want to say, on each turntable, but now I got to think how many turntables there are. I'm going to go with 15.
15.
Mm-hmm.
Final answer.
Final.
All right.
Maybe it's 18. We're sticking with 15.
You want to stick with your first answer?
Yep, we're going to sticking with the first answer.
Okay.
No. Backing it up, we're going with the second. We're going 18.
Going with the second
We're going
answer.
with 18.
All right.
Get a little more capacity to that attraction.
All right. I can hitch my wagon to that.
Yeah,
I can stack my teacup in that.
3 cups per turntable, and we'll say there's 6.
So you think there's 6 turntables with 3 cups on each?
You know, whenever you repeat that, you confuse me and you make me second guess
I'm
myself.
just confirming that I know what you're saying, and confirming for the listeners who might be writing these down for future reference.
Absolute final answer.
Okay. All right. And your fourth and final regular round question from listener #SaveTeresa's
I love this so much.
You might know that on the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, you ride in vehicles or honey beehives. Can you tell me the names of each individual vehicle?
Oh, no, I cannot. Okay, this is related but not. I absolutely find it so fun that each ride, and it makes sense why they do this, that there's many ride vehicles throughout the parks that each one has a name. And I just find it so fun that they, like, instead of just, it could just be numbers, but no, Disney gives them names. And I genuinely do not remember what all the names are. I don't think it's like multiple ways to spell honey, because that would not be easy for them to actually keep track of the vehicles, or excuse me, vehicles. I'm going to say that all the names start with B, though, the letter B, but I don't know what they all are. That's my
that's your final
answer?
That's
not really a guess, yes.
Okay. And your bonus question tonight from listener Connor S. In the Harryhausen scene of Monsters, Inc., Mike and Sully to the rescue, there are many eyeballs throughout the restaurant. One set of eyeballs belongs to a non-Pixar character. Who is it?
So I feel like I'm cheating because we had this one before. And it's Kermit.
Kermit the Frog?
Kermit's eyes. And shout out to our friend Ruben, who used to work on this attraction. We got to ride through this with him recently. Actually, on our last trip, we got to ride through it. And he, like, as we were going through, he specifically pointed out where you can find the Kermit eyes in that scene. So I even know exactly where they are now. I don't just know the fun fact. I can point it out.
Yes, you did have this question before, but that wouldn't even matter because you have specifically seen
them with my own eyes.
You've seen the eyes with your eyes.
Exactly.
And so you can really say things about the eyes.
Super, yes.
All right. Well, listeners, how do you think Teresa did? How did you do listening at home? Stick around until after the discussion topic, and we can all find out together.
All right. Well, for this week, we have 2 very special guests with us. Both are from Concierge. So we would like to welcome the president of Concierge, Lyndsey, as well as senior travel planner, Bethany, to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, thanks for having us.
Yes, we're so excited to have you. Lyndsey, thank you for coming back. We didn't scare you off when we had you on almost 2 years ago. And Bethany, we're super excited to have you on, first time ever for DL Weekly.
Yes, I'm so excited.
So like we do for all of our guests, we like to get to know you a little before we dive into our topic. Can you tell us about your Disney story? Kind of how you got interested in Disney itself. Maybe it was the movies, but just basically what made you fall in love with it. Lyndsey, I'll let you go first.
Okay, perfect. So yes, I was trying to think of how to change my answer because I have answered this last time I was on. I have a very generic childhood story, I think. I was a child of Disney Renaissance. I grew up watching all the movies. I grew up in Southern California, so I went to Disneyland a lot as a kid and just, loved it. But I was thinking more along the lines for this interview of like how I became a Disney fan again as a parent because, growing up, I always loved it. But then I feel like it's a whole new level now as an adult. And a lot of that came once I started having kids. We would, take them as soon as right before they turned 3, when they were still a guest of Mickey and could go for free. So that was kind of like traditionally when we would take them for the first time. But then as my older boys were growing up and I had like my third boy, he just kind of had to come along for the ride with his older brothers. So he went for the first time when he was like barely not even 2 months old yet. He was so tiny. And I just brought him and wore him onto all the rides. And I remember that day, like he was sleeping and he woke up while we were in the tiki room and he just like looked up at the birds above his head and he would like kind of coo back at them. Aww. And he just like looked so amazed. It was so cute. And that was the first trip where I really like learned to kind of slow down and like enjoy the ambiance of Disney parks. Because just growing up, it was like, go, go, go all the time, living there. You would just drive over in the morning, stay till it closed, and then drive home and go hard all day. And so now as a mom, I love being able to just, instead of focusing on the rides and the shows as much, I focus now more on my kids and their reactions to everything, which is so fun. And also, I mean, as you guys know, life is so crazy. There's like always so much going on. My schedule is nuts, work is nuts. And so whenever we take a break from that and go to the parks, it's like such a nice break from chores and jobs and everything to just like enjoy each other and like hang out in the magic of Disney. And that has become my favorite part about just Disney parks and Disney life as an adult.
Awesome. So Bethany, let's hear your Disney story.
My story is kind of similar. So I live here in Southern California and I grew up in the Disney Renaissance as well. Little Mermaid was my absolute favorite. Well, Little Mermaid, Aladdin, I watched them all on repeat. And my first visit, my parents took me for my 3rd birthday to Disneyland and I would go, every once in a while. We weren't like avid Disney goers, I would say, but it was something that we did, it wasn't something we avoided. So I did go as a kid and I remember going for like 8th grade graduation and then with a church group and, all that kind of stuff. So it was really fun kind of growing up with that being an experience that I got to enjoy. And then I moved to Tennessee when I was in high school. And after high school and college, I ended up moving back to California. And one of my best friends now, she was a friend of my boyfriend, who's now my husband now, was an annual pass holder and she would go with her daughter all the time. And I was like, well, I want to go. I love Disneyland. Let's do this. And so I got my own annual pass back in 2011. So ever since then, I have been an annual pass holder, now Magic Key holder. And being able to be a stay-at-home mom, I was able to take them pretty regularly. And then that led me into listening to DLWeekly regularly and then finding concierge and applying to be a travel planner. And, the rest is history. So
amazing. I love it. So when entering Disneyland on the first day of your visits, and this might change because you guys are there sometimes for work, sometimes for fun, but which way do you like to go? Do you like to go first? Which tunnel? Do you go through the left tunnel, the one that's over by the firehouse, or do you go to the one that's on the right, that's over by like Lincoln and Disneyana? So which tunnel do you like to go to? And then once you've picked your tunnel, where do you like to head? Adventureland, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland? How do you attack the park? Bethany, we'll go ahead and start with you.
I am such a creature of habit when it comes to the tunnels, and it's not something I realized until, I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago. But when I enter the park, I always go right. And when I exit the park, I always go right. And when you're park hopping, it can be kind of a pain because if you go to the right when you're exiting, but the exit is only on the left, then you have to go all the way around.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so funny. But it's like this habit that I cannot break. I always go right. As far as which land, as a Magic Key holder, it changes every time. But I will say that if I am, like staying on property, I'm taking advantage of early entry and early entries at Disneyland, and we're going into Disneyland for the day, and it's an attraction focused day. We're going to Fantasyland 100%. Like, we're going to knock out Peter Pan first and then everything in Fantasyland. And then I'll kind of work my way left and then back over to Tomorrowland, if that makes sense. So like center, left, up and around, and then back to Tomorrowland at the end of the day. So yeah.
Makes total sense. And I mean, clearly you're a travel planner, because you're like, you go in with a plan in mind to like get the most the most out of the way as fast as you can. Because yeah, Fantasyland in the morning is prime. It's
exactly
perfect. Lyndsey, what is your tunnel and your land of choice when you first enter the parks?
I think I'm impartial when it comes to tunnels. It's just like whichever side I'm closest to, whether I'm coming from like downtown Disney Way or I'm coming from like Harbor. Once I'm through that, like the turnstiles, I'm like, get me into Town Square. So I just go through whichever tunnel is the closest, and then I'm in. And I think I usually always like head Adventureland / Frontierland first, because we will always be rope dropping either Jungle Cruise, Pirates, or Big Thunder, depending on if my kids are with me and what they've.
There you go. Perfect. Well, on the subject of attractions, I want to know what your favorite attraction is. And even though this is a Disneyland-centered podcast, you can pick an attraction from any of the Disney parks. So, Lyndsey, what's your favorite attraction?
My traditional favorite attraction is Pirates of the Caribbean. I love it. Mm-hmm. It is just classic. But a newer version, or a newer ride that I am obsessed with now, is Cosmic Rewind.
Oh.
I love that one. But really, if we're judging favorite rides by like which ones we go on the most, I think mine would be the Disneyland Railroad. Because every time I go to Disneyland, I have to go for a spin on the railroad. I don't know what it is. So I just really love like buying a pickle, sitting on the train, watching Disneyland go by, kind of checking out everything. So maybe I'm a train girl.
Maybe. So with Pirates, is it Disneyland's Pirates, or which version of Pirates? Or do you just love them all equally?
Yeah. Oh, Disneyland 100%, because with the Bayou and Blue Bayou, that's just like the mystique of it. I remember as a kid, before I ever ate a Blue Bayou, I just thought that was like the coolest, that there's like this secret restaurant over there. And Disney World does not have that.
I know.
Disneyland Paris does not have that. So Disneyland wins.
There you go. Awesome. So Bethany, what's your favorite attraction?
My favorite attraction is, it always kind of changes, depending on the scenario. But for the most part, I would say it's a toss up between Jungle Cruise and Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout.
Oh,
there's just something about that attraction that I'm always so giddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not really a thrill seeker. It's actually kind of a funny story. My son, when he was 4 years old, my husband took him on that ride. And it was his first time going on any 40-inch attractions, because it was right after COVID. Like it was our first trip to the park after the pandemic. And he did Thunder Mountain, did great, did Splash Mountain, did great, did Space Mountain, did great. And Anthony was like, yeah, time for Guardians. And I was like, what? He's 4. And he's like, nah, he's got it. He came off that ride and was like, Mom, let's do it. I was like, okay. And so I did. And I was like shaking getting on it. But like just that memory of the joy that he had has like totally seeped into me and made me absolutely love this attraction. And now I'm like always like, let's go on Guardians. Let's go on Guardians. I mean, Lyndsey can attest. Like every time we go, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So.
One of these times I think it'd be so fun to get an elevator full of like weekly tiers or like people that we know. I think that'd be so fun to fill. And well, they're not elevators. What are they called now?
Gantry lift.
Yes, yeah. Gantry lifts. That's what it is. To get a gantry lift full of like friends. I think that'd be so fun. Bethany, you and my husband would have a blast in the parks together, because those are his 2 favorite rides as well.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Well, yeah. And there's just something about Jungle Cruise too, the nostalgia the punny jokes, I love it. And no matter how many times I go on Jungle Cruise, I will always laugh like loudly. So yeah.
We're the same way, and sometimes it's awkward because you just happen to get that boat that they're just not really understanding what attraction they just got on, and they're just silent.
Yeah, it's always so terrible, and I'm just like, I'll laugh for you. Don't worry
I know.
it.
I always feel bad for those skippers. I'm like, ooh, tough crowd. Well, anyways, I'm so excited for both of you to come on because you both got to experience Pixar Fest and have all sorts of, I'm sure, tips and tricks and thoughts about what you got to experience. Not only did you get to be there for opening weekend, Lyndsey, you got to go to a preview of it. So you got to see things before it was even out in the parks and open to the general public. So let's talk about that, because if you've been a listener of DL Weekly, everyone knows it's like, that's my dream. I want to go to I think that'd be so fun to be on the media list to do these previews because they look like a blast. So Lyndsey, tell us all about that and what your experience was.
I was very excited to be able to go to this, but let me tell you, I felt like out of my element because it was really full. It was a media preview. So I got invited to go on behalf of concierge. Yeah. Disney invited a handful of travel agency owners as part of their sales group to come to this media preview, which was two days before Pixar Fest officially opened. And so the invited group, I guess, was full of like Disney influencers, but also traditional media. There were like local news stations there and people filming like from other countries. They were doing news broadcasts and stuff. So there was a pretty big group. They were really just trying to give all of us a preview of what was coming so that then obviously the media people could get the word out to the public. But then also I love that they think to invite travel agency owners because we are the ones who will be sending families there all summer long. So to be able to kind of see it and like start developing our content and planning how we want to get the word out to our different clients was actually super helpful and really fun. Yes, I flew in to Anaheim and they gave us like kind of VIP seating for a preview of the parade, the Better Together parade in California Adventure. And then we had special seating for that night's fireworks, the new fireworks show at Disneyland. And then they also invited us to like a media reception in Club Pixar where they, previewed, they gave us like samples of some of the foods, not the best foods. Bethany definitely got the better menu. It was, I can't even remember all the names of them, but it was like the red hot mac and cheese.
Oh, yep. Oh, the
so
Firetown like bites
things, right?
Yes. A lot of it
because those aren't open yet. 3 more days.
Wow.
They had like the bologna sandwich, which
yep.
did not sound appealing to me, but it actually tasted okay. So we got to try some stuff and like play the games in Club Pixar and watch the dance party and stuff. So that was really fun. And then the next day, they kind of got us together in our sales group to meet with, some of our like Disney team and our partners who we work with all the time. So to be able to see them in person was really fun.
Yeah.
And then we had a little preview of like the Pixar Pals Playtime Party and a big spread of all the food that's coming, not just, to the food booths, but just throughout all the restaurants in dessert. So it was a whirlwind couple of days, but I came back from that feeling like I could definitely train the rest of the concierge team about what to expect and how to, help their families who are traveling. And then for my own clients to be able to give them some pro tips for this summer. It was really great.
Dang, that sounds really fun. Like what a cool way to not only get a preview, but just experience all the different things, because that was so unique. I mean, the fact that you got to try the food booth stuff that's not even out yet, even though Pixar Fest has started, like you're way ahead of the game. Plus reserved seating for parades and fireworks. Who doesn't love that? That's amazing. I agree with you. I think it makes a lot of sense because usually these media previews, like you said, are either like social media content creators or like traditional news outlets, but it makes a whole lot of sense to also have the travel planners, the Disney travel planners, be able to experience it as well. So you can share and like promote how awesome these fun events are. So that's so cool. What was like your favorite part or like highlight or memorable thing that happened?
So for the fireworks, they put us just right in the middle of Main Street, which is a great place to watch the fireworks, we always advise our families, like, if you want the best view, you want to be in the middle of Main Street. But I personally, I don't usually myself watch from there because it can be like pretty crowded. So I usually will find, our secret favorite spot is back by It's a Small World, which I know, Teresa, you have watched from back there.
Yes, it's so good back there.
Not very crowded. You still get like the full projection experience and the fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we were in the middle of Main Street and I was like, oh, this is great. I don't usually stand here. And so we could see the castle. And I won't give any spoilers, but the Pixar Together Forever Nighttime Spectacular, there are 2 different Pixar icons that fly by the castle at different times. And so we just had a really great view to be able to see those. And then also, because I'm not always on Main Street, sometimes I forget about the extra special effects they do there. And so we just had a really great view of all the new projections on the buildings on Main Street. And then there's some even more exciting stuff that happens like on the rooftops and different places. So it was just a really good spot to be there. So I would say for Pixar Fest, don't watch it by Small World. You want to be able to see the castle and Main Street.
Yes. And Tag and I made the mistake because they were doing the previews. I had forgotten about the extra magic on Main Street. And we were so proud of ourselves because we actually got a really good, like, close to the castle view. And when that section came on, I remembered what happened because they did that for the 2018 version of the fireworks, that extra magic. And I remembered, I was like, no, we're in the wrong spot. Usually, right, you want to be up like as close to the castle as you want. But yeah, Main Street is definitely where you want to be watching this fireworks show from. It's so, so fun. At least once. And then you can go back to Small World and enjoy, like some arm room, and you can even sit if you want. It's such a different like feel back there. So Bethany, let's move on to you. You got to go for opening weekend. It looked like you got to go with your family. What were your first thoughts of Pixar Fest, and how did you guys kind of attack the different fest activities?
Yeah, so I was able to go, like you said, with my family, my husband, and my 2 kids, and we were really excited to check out all of the new experiences that came along with Pixar Fest, especially considering we're Magic Key holders, so we're able to go pretty frequently to the parks. And so it was really just a day dedicated to all of these new experiences. I even had like a checklist on my phone of like, okay, we need to do this at this time and this at this time. And we really got to make sure to try this food because this is what I really want to try. And so it was great. And because we had that as kind of our structure, we were able to just get everything checked off of our list and really experience just about everything with Pixar Fest, with the exception of the food booth that will be coming later on. First, we kind of we started in DCA because that's where early entry was. So we kind of did some attractions there and had some fun with the photo ops that are kind of scattered throughout DCA. Back in like the Hollywoodland backlot, there's a Buzz Lightyear one and I think a Wall-E one. I'm trying to remember what else, but there's so many murals that you can take photos in front of. And so we kind of explored that and just like gave the kids an opportunity before all of the official, Pixar activities started happening. Because the first one starts at around 11:30, depending on the day. And that's the Pixar Palace Playtime Party. And that's over in Disneyland. So we weren't even really able to like fully immerse ourselves into Pixar Fest until we were at Disneyland, funnily enough, even though we were like frolicking around Pixar Pier, So that was like our first peek at the Pixar Fest offerings. And I had sort of an idea of what to expect. But when I tell you, when we walked in and saw everything and my jaw hit the floor, I mean, I'm not exaggerating. It's wild how much they are doing for this festival. It's so much. And I'm so happy that they have chosen the Fantasyland Theater for all of these activities because there is the space for it. I mean, the stage show, I would say, is the Tomorrowland stage shows that we have every once in a while. It's that, but on another level, like whole other level. So it's just, that was great. I mean, my daughter got to dance with all kinds of Pixar characters in the audience. She was just living her best life. And then I was taking my son to go meet Ian Lightfoot. That's his name, right?
Yep.
Ian Lightfoot and Barley from Onward. And I was just like, oh, this is so cool. And
love that they have them.
Mm-hmm.
I know, it made me so happy. That movie is so good. And then my daughter was so thrilled that she got to hug Ember and not get burned. And Wade didn't get her wet. She was like, oh, how did they do that? It was the cutest thing ever. So yeah, that was probably my favorite experience of the day, just because there was so much. I mean, the stage show, they played games with you, the photo ops. We didn't get to meet Doug, which I was bummed about, but that line was the longest for sure, because everybody wants to chat with him.
Yeah. Since now he can talk now. This is the first time he's been able to talk while he's been at Disneyland. But the thing that looks so cool, what was it? I was watching Fresh Baked. They somehow they're like, we just spent 2 hours back in this area and we didn't even mean to. There's just so much going on. But the thing that's cool too is, even if you don't like Ian and Barley, even if you happen to be back there and Ian and Barley aren't out, you can still do fun photos with Guinevere the van. It's still like, it's the characters, it's these really cool larger than life photo op type things, and just there's so many. I need to take a head count of how many characters are back there, because I can't think of another experience that has that many characters in one place. It's wild. It's
truly catered for kids to just be in that area and live their best Disney Pixar life.
Yeah.
There's a craft area, and then Troubadour Tavern is right there, so you can mobile order some Pixar Fest offerings. The Papa Loca.
Oh yeah.
That one was so good. There's also a barbecue one, and my husband liked it, and it was good, but it was nowhere near the level of the Papa Loca. Oh my gosh, it was delicious. So it's just so fun that you can just mobile order your food. There's tables there, so you can like eat and watch the show from a distance, or you can go and get involved. Yeah, that was, like I said, my favorite experience.
And there's so much seating there, and the party runs the whole afternoon until like dinner time. So it's a really good place, like just to take an afternoon break and not feel like you're,
and it's shaded. It's going to be so great for the summer. When I was there, we got there right when it opened, and it was day one. So it was pretty crowded. But the videos that I've seen on social media since then, it has been just fairly open and not crazy crowded. And I think you're right, Lyndsey. It's because it goes all day. And so people come and they enjoy it for a little while, and then they, move on.
That's awesome. So let's talk about the parade next, because that's the other big, fun, new thing for the festival. Lyndsey, what were your thoughts on the parade? The music, the floats, the characters, all of that.
Music is great. The dancers are amazing. And I love that they're doing this parade in California Adventure, because the parade route is very long and very wide. So unlike Disneyland, where you're like jammed in there, you don't even have to really stake out a spot for this parade. And it runs twice each day. So you can really just show up like 10 minutes before and you'll find us
awesome.
along the parade route, which is great. I love all the characters in it. There's a float for Soul, which I thought was fun. There's a float for Turning Red. So like, some of these like newer Pixar movies, I love seeing them get attention. I will say my only critique is it's a little bit short. Like I don't know how many floats are in there, but like you watch the show and then you're like, wait a minute, that's it. I want more. And I was thinking after, like, you get so excited to see like Inside Out and The Incredibles and stuff. There's definitely like a lot of Pixar represented. But then after, I was like, there's no Cars. There's no, there's no Wall-E, there's it's definitely not all of Pixar's body of work in this parade. So that would be my only critique.
Bugs Land, where are the Bugs Land characters? Or Bugs Life from Bugs Land. We know that they have the characters exist. We know. But yeah, that's a good point, because maybe Lightning and Tomato just had too many duties in Cars Land and they weren't able to get away.
They've got their own land. That's fine. Maybe they're busy.
But yeah, Bugs, like, they could have 100% the Bugs Life people could have come. Flick and Ada. That would have been super fun. Bethany, what were your thoughts of the parade?
I loved the Luca float. My mind was completely blown when that float came by. And I was, I'm there with my kids, so I'm interacting with them, watching them watch the parade. And then my head turns and I see the concept, like just the whole, I don't necessarily want to give spoilers, but literally my mind was blown, because it's so cool.
It's a really we'll say unique, right? Because like if I were to design a parade float for that Pixar film, this float checks all the boxes. It really kind of wraps it like wraps the entire film up into like that one float. It's really well done, I think. So I like it. Just it looks cool, and the details on it also amazing.
Yeah, they knocked that one out of the park for sure. And it like I said, it was right in front of me. We had front row seats, and it took about halfway for the float to be like halfway past me before I realized what it was. So you need to like kind of look closely when when you see the Luca float to see this detail. But it's good. It's really, really good.
Awesome. Did your kids have any favorite floats or favorite characters that they saw?
My daughter has not stopped singing the song, so I think she just loved it all. My kids haven't seen Turning Red, so they did. I mean, they're young, so they didn't really recognize that or understand that. And that is, I think, one of the first floats that comes by. So that was kind of, they were like, "Oh, who is that? What's this big panda? I don't understand." But they really liked Bing Bong. That was really cute. Seeing him and, the Inside Out emotions. They're really excited about Inside Out 2 coming. So I think that was kind of their focus.
I keep forgetting that Inside Out 2 is coming out soon. Like it's like next month already, which is crazy.
Right. Yeah, I think Father's Day weekend. So exciting.
Mm-hmm. Very exciting. All right. What were your thoughts on Club Pixar?
So, I'll say Club Pixar is like the nighttime equivalent of the Pixar Pals Playtime Party, which it opens. It's only in the evening. I think it starts around like 5:30 and goes till like 9:30. There are a lot of like really cute yard games, which I knew they were going to be there, like Connect Four or like the giant chess pieces and stuff. But it wasn't until I got there that I realized each game is themed to a Pixar short.
Oh,
like, do you remember the original Pixar short that, like, I think it was with Toy Story, where it's like the old man playing chess with himself?
Yes, it's called Gerald's Game.
Yes.
Gerald's Game is my favorite.
It's so cute.
It's so cute. And so that, like, they have a sign for that short with the chess pieces. So it's like you're playing, with him, which I just thought was super cute.
That
so
is
the
cute.
games are cute. And then there's a little drive-in movie area where they have like a big screen and these fake cars with like comfy seats, and you can just sit and watch Pixar shorts on a big screen, which is so fun.
Did you get to sit in the seats, Lyndsey?
Yes.
They're so comfortable.
They are. And what's the food place back there? So this is in like the Hollywood backlot area in California Adventure. But Bethany, what's the name of that?
Oh, the truck?
Yeah, Studio Catering Company. That is where you want to go to get the best Pixar Fest food item that is there.
Did you get what are they called? The Ramon nachos?
They're so good.
I've been eyeing those up.
So delicious.
Since you went there, Bethany, let's talk about the food next, because I mean that's half of the festival now, is not just like the new entertainment, but food's a thing in and of itself with these new celebrations. So we'll kick it off with the Ramon nachos. So what are the Ramon nachos for those of us that haven't been studying the foodie guide? Not gonna say that's me or not, but tell us about the Ramon nachos.
Yeah, so they're nachos. They have grilled chicken on them. It's tortilla chips topped with grilled chicken, queso blanco, which is my favorite kind of cheese, refried beans, pico, salsa verde, cotija cheese, again, one of my favorites, and serrano peppers, which is what makes it very spicy, and radishes. And all of the textures and the flavors just meld together so nicely. And it's all of my favorites.
So a must try then.
Absolutely. Definitely a must try. I also tried the flautas that are over from Paradise Garden Grill. And those were really good as well. And those are not spicy. So I would say if you are into the Mexican cuisine, but not super into spicy food, try the flautas, because they have that salsa verde, but not the serrano peppers. And those were really, really, really good.
Awesome.
The whole Paradise Garden Grill menu for Pixar Fest looks amazing. Like everything on it.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be in the parks for a week during Pixar Fest, and I'm having a hard time limiting my Pixar Fest like must tries because there's so many good ones, and somehow an entire week doesn't even feel like it's enough time.
I will say a treat that I really liked is also one of the ones that's going to be at the food booths. It was the ratatouille macaron. It's like creme brulee mousse with caramel in the middle, and it's huge, like the size of my palm, and it was delicious. So I recommend that.
That one, that's another one that we've been eyeing up too. The flavor combination of that one just sounds delectable. There's the good stuff on just the regular menus, plus the food booth stuff. So many good options. So, Lyndsey, besides the macaron, what other things were you excited to try? Or are there any things that you might advise people to perhaps steer clear of?
Well, at that dinner, like I said, they had a lot of the food booth sample things. Mm-hmm. I will say there's macaroni and cheese that's like Inside Out inspired, and there's a joyful yellow mac and cheese, and then there's angry red mac and cheese with like spicy Cheetos on top. Mm-hmm. It was very spicy. I'm not really like a spicy person, so I'd say maybe stay away from that one if you don't like spicy food. But everything else looked good. I tried there's an elemental food booth, and they have Impossible Chicken with like this mustard sauce, and there's like pickles on it and stuff. That was really good too.
Awesome. Bethany, any other favorites that you and your family got to try?
We tried the cold brew, the Adventures Out There cold brew. And I know you're very into cold brews.
Yes.
So I personally didn't love it because it's super sweet.
Oh.
With that butterscotch topper and then all of the sprinkles and everything. And then on top of that, it's chocolate cold brew.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it was very sweet, but everyone else that I have talked to that has tried it, they love it. So I'm wondering if maybe the ratio that we got of the butterscotch topper maybe was too much. So I don't know. I'd be open to trying it again, but I'm not a huge fan of sweets, so I might not be the best judge. But it's really cute the way that they put it together because they have like the coffee and then they put the butterscotch topper, which is yellow, and then the sprinkles and then the wafer cookie. And they said that the cold brew represents the house and then the yellow topper is kind of like the color of the house and the roof and the walls, so forth. Cute. The confetti represents the balloons, and then the cookie that kind of sticks out on top is the chimney. And I thought that was just adorable. The story that you're telling with a cold brew. It was so cute.
Wow. That is really cool. And now that you say that, it makes total sense, but I don't know if I would have necessarily put that all together in my head that it was the house. I get the sprinkles and the balloons made sense, but dang, that's really cool. It's all about the details, right? That's why we love Disney.
It's so cute. I'm so excited for the food booth to open, though, because I have my eye on several items that I'm excited to get my hands on. So, yeah. Another thing that we didn't get to try was, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but the birria pizza.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
From the Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta. That I'm seeing everywhere is getting rave reviews. And so I'm assuming it's the quesadilla, tacos meat that they're then slapping on pizza. So I imagine that's super delicious.
I'm sure it is. Yeah. This is going to sound terrible. We still have not tried the quesadilla tacos. I don't know how we haven't, but yeah, we actually haven't done an order of those tacos yet. We had like the sample size back for, what was it? Touch of Disney.
Oh, Touch of Disney.
And that's as close as we've gotten to I guess technically we've had them, but we've not actually had them, if that makes sense. But that's got to change because they look
Put it on your list for June. You got it.
On my ever-growing list. Thankfully, Vern is coming because Vern is a marathoner and he works at the post office. So he burns a lot of calories. So he eats a lot. So it's great for me because then I can try all these different things and have him finish it all for me.
Perfect.
Yeah, it works out perfect. So Bethany and Lyndsey, now that you guys have become Pixar Fest pros since you got to be there for the opening weekend. What are some of your tips and tricks for those interested in going to Pixar Fest and wanting to make the best out of their time there? We already know you got to go watch the fireworks from Main Street because that's where you get to experience all of the magic. But any other tips or suggestions for listeners?
I would say mobile order some must-haves, seasonal offerings from Pixar Fest. And, whether it's from True Roar Tavern or wherever they are, you can find them literally at any restaurant throughout the Disneyland Resort, and take it over to the Pixar Palace Playtime Party at the Fantasyland Theater and just kind of enjoy the environment there. And it's a great break for parents. It's a great way for the kids to kind of get their wiggles out if they want to, run around, play with the stage show, or, color for a little while, just to have some quiet time and meet their favorite characters. So I would say taking lunch over there and kind of enjoying that aspect is a great idea. And then for Club Pixar, definitely go there once it's dark, because then I think you can kind of enjoy the atmosphere a little more. Watching the Pixar shorts in the drive-in will be a lot easier because you'll be able to see the screen. Same with the Club Pixar stage that's over there in the Hollywood backlot. There's a screen where they're kind of showing some things during the stage show. And I think just the neon that they have there too will be just so much more vibrant, obviously, at night. And from what I saw on social media, it seems like it is a little bit more hopping at night, if that makes sense. We were there, I don't know, probably around 6. So it was still light outside. There weren't a ton of people over there. And I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the day, they had the Mad Tea Party or the Tron Dance Party, even further back. And so I was envisioning that it was going to be kind of similar to that, where it's just like everybody dancing, having a good time, maybe grabbing some drinks from the Hollywood Lounge, and, maybe more of an adult environment or older kid, But when we were there, it was very geared towards the kids. It seemed almost silly because it had a stage show where they were kind of teaching how to line dance like Woody would, which was super cute. My kids liked it. But for myself, I was like, no, this is supposed to be a dance party. What's going on? So I'm curious to check it out maybe a little later in the evening and see if that vibe kind of comes back. But
sure, yeah.
I don't know.
Too funny. Lyndsey, any tips or tricks that you'd like to share?
Yes. Well, another fun thing that I don't even know if Disney has officially announced this, but it's definitely all over the internet. So, but there's this scavenger hunt for the Pizza Planet trucks.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. That looks so fun.
They say there are more than 50 and of the Pizza Planet truck from Toy Story, which is also a popcorn bucket, a very popular one you can buy during Pixar Fest. But they say that they've hidden all of these trucks around the resort. And I actually found one before I knew what was going on. And I was like, that's a Pizza Planet truck. That's weird. And it was in a very random location where nothing would be Toy Story related. And anyway, so I'm like, what the heck is that doing there? But then
you're like, do they know this is here? I wonder if someone...
I'm like, is this a mistake? But of course, it's a mistake. It's all planned.
Yeah.
So anyway, afterward, I found out about the scavenger hunt and I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then I stumbled onto another one without even trying. It was on an attraction. I will say that. And I was just kind of looking around at stuff and I'm like, oh, another one. So they are, I would say, if you want to try to find all 50 or however many there are, that might be tricky, but you will definitely see a few without even trying. So that could be a fun thing to kind of keep an eye out for.
Yeah. And they think that they must have some of these in some crazy obscure areas. Because if you follow Disney accounts on social media, I'm sure you have seen some of these. We're not going to give any spoilers here though, but with the amount of Disney account, I'm a crazy Disney person, as we all know. That's why we're here. But I don't even think I've seen all 50 that people have taken pictures and posted online yet. So it's wild to me how many are, that there's that many and that not everybody has even found all of them yet. And Pixar Fest has been in full swing for, almost almost 3 weeks now. It's just, wild.
It's true.
You know that these things are hidden crazy. Like some of them are obvious and some of them are hidden crazy well. So
another thing that I was just thinking while I was experiencing Pixar Fest is like, I feel like Pixar Fest is the full return of the Disneyland Resort, like post-pandemic.
Oh.
Obviously, it's been 4 years, right? Like Disneyland has been reopened for 3 years. Like we're getting there in many ways. You know, so many things have been back for a really long time. But this was the first time where I just feel like Disneyland is like going all out with festivals like they used to pre-pandemic. Like they're just going hard on all cylinders, like characters, food, entertainment in both parks. You know, there's just like so much going on. And it makes me so happy to just to feel like Disneyland is really back.
That's an excellent point. That makes me so happy. I didn't even realize that until you just pointed that out. Because yeah, look at just Pixar Fest versus what the Disney 100 celebration was.
Yes, true. Or even like Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary. Like that was fun and there was some things, but people were like, oh, I wish there was more, you know? And I feel like Pixar Fest is it. It's awesome.
Getting back to that level. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Well, Bethany and Lyndsey, thank you guys both so much for coming on and talking about your experiences at Pixar Fest. Is there anything that we did not cover that you think we should let listeners know about?
Ooh, well, there is a really good discount and promo coming to
yes.
this summer. So, I mean, if we have piqued your interest about Pixar Fest in any way, this would be the time to go. There are multiple promos going on this summer. One is for like hotels. So the Grand Californian and the Disneyland Hotel and the villas at the Disneyland Hotel, those are all going to have discounts this summer, which is fun because they don't always do that at this time. But the thing that is really awesome is there's a 3-day ticket deal coming and it's more than half off a regular 3-day ticket. So like we were just talking about it today, Bethany and I, like we're blown away by how much of a discount this is. So, I mean, you're getting like a steal if you go for 3 days.
Well, and the crazy thing with this ticket deal too is it's not like a normal 3-day ticket where you have to use it within a certain period of time. You can, if you're someone that lives close enough that you can go, you know, once every 3 months, you can use that same ticket for this, where typically those multi-day tickets have to be used, you know, within a certain window once you start. So it's amazing.
Well, and usually those ticket deals are reserved for California residents. Sometimes even more specifically Southern California residents. So I'm telling you, when they announced this deal, I read it through probably 3 times because I was like, did I miss it? Did I miss where it says California residents? Because it's seriously such a good deal. I can't even like wrap my mind around it. Oh, I'm so excited for May 29th to get here and gonna save some people a ton of money. It's going to be so good.
Yes. Which, if this is something you're interested, please contact Bethany and Lyndsey over at Concierge. As you can hear, they know all the ins and outs about Pixar Fest. They are passionate about helping families and helping families save money. So they're going to make sure that they can get you the best deals. So yes, contact them at Concierge. They're nice. You've just listened to them both talk. They're super awesome. Bethany actually just helped Tag get on the cruise that he's currently on, and she helped me plan my cruise that I'm doing next year. So we are big fans of Concierge over here. So please give them a call if you're interested. The other thing too, you guys know better than I, but this ticket deal looked like it also even extends out into spooky season.
That is true.
So if Pixar Fest possibly is not your thing and you're saving up for Oogie Boogie Bash, you can use the same ticket deal to go experience the first part of Halloween at the parks, which is, I keep saying, oh, this is one of my there's so many of my favorites, but really Halloween is like, you've got to experience Halloween at the Disneyland Resort. It is just, it's unlike anything else, especially if you're a Halloween person. You need to.
And it starts even earlier this year in August. So I don't know how I feel about Halloween, before Labor Day, but hey, I'm here for it.
I decided, I was looking at the halfway to Halloween stuff that they announced, and I was like, well, August 25th feels early, but we could be Walt Disney World, where it's now like, I think August 6th or 7th, or it's at the beginning of August. I'm like, it could be that. So the 25th doesn't seem as bad now that I see that it could be that.
Well, and the fact that it gave us more Oogie Boogie Bash dates is really, I think, what's so great. You know, I think that hopefully will give more people an opportunity to experience that Halloween party that is so popular.
Which, good thing you mentioned that, Bethany, because I don't think everyone knows that if you book your trip through Concierge and you're looking at doing one of these after-hour events like Oogie Boogie Bash, the Concierge team can help get you those tickets. And Oogie Boogie Bash is easily the most sought after hours event night, and they can help get that done for you so you're not waiting hours and hours and hours hoping to get through the virtual queue loveliness that is getting and securing these tickets.
Loveliness.
That's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it loveliness.
Yes.
It's worth it at the end, but when you're sitting in that line, you're really questioning things.
Oh man. Yeah, it's a doozy, but yeah, we're pros. We work together as a team and we make it happen. Keep our clients happy and get them those tickets.
Well, and we were saying this over and over and over again. If it wasn't for Concierge, we Tag and I wouldn't have been able to go to Oogie Boogie Bash last year because you guys were able to get in and get those tickets snagged. And I even stayed in the line just to see how it would have played out. And yeah, we would not have gotten the tickets for the nights that we were going to be there. So you saved us last year. That's for sure. Well, Bethany and Lyndsey, thank you both so much again for coming on and talking about all the fun things that is Pixar Fest. But before we wrap up, I've got one final question for you both. If you were to work at Disneyland, what would you want to do? Sky's the limit. Can be anything. It can be something that's currently there, or you can be totally crazy and make up your own position and, make up whatever role you'd like to play. So, Lyndsey, let's start with you.
Okay, so last time I think I said I would want to be a VIP tour guide, which still stands. Like my favorite thing is walking people through the parks and pointing out all of my extensive knowledge about the parks. But I was thinking like more outside the box this time. And I was just talking to a friend who has her friend is a fireman at Disneyland, but he works the night shift.
Oh.
And so his job is to get there graveyard shift and kind of monitor, any welders that are doing construction or as they're kind of doing maintenance on things. And I just thought, how fun to be in Disneyland by yourself, at night, just kind of walking around, checking things out, making sure everything works okay. That I think would just be super fun.
I love it. I didn't even know that was a thing you could do there. That's cool.
Me too.
Bethany, what would you like to do?
So this is probably the hardest question. I was actually talking to my husband about it the other night because, I listened to the podcast, so I knew it was coming. And he's like, well, you'd want to be a VIP tour guide. And I was like, well, I mean, yeah, that would be really, really great and super fun. So I think that's hilarious that was your answer, Lyndsey. But I was like, I don't know. I think it would be really, really cool to be in the Jungle Cruise Skipper Club. I don't think I'm quite that cool and maybe not quite that funny. But if we're playing this game of wishful thinking, that's my answer. I would love to be a Jungle Cruise Skipper.
I believe in you. I think you would be a wonderful Jungle Cruise Skipper.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. I could follow a script. I could do it.
Yeah.
And then, I won't steer the boat right, but
you could be a VIP tour guide of the jungle. There you go. Best of both worlds.
There you go.
I love that.
If Josh Gad can do it, you can do it.
Yes. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Bethany and Lyndsey, where is the best place for our listeners to find you and to find Concierge if they want to contact you to get their next Disney vacation booked? Again, Concierge not only does Disneyland trips, but if you're thinking Walt Disney World, Alani, Disney Cruise Lines, Disneyland Paris, I think is in your wheelhouse too. They can help with all of those different locations, and Universal. If you want to, spend some time away from Disney, they can help with Universal trips too.
That is true. Our website is concierge.com. And on there there's a tab at the top called Request a Quote. And that will take you to a page where you can either schedule a call with any of our travel planners, or you can fill out just a quick little online form with like some of what you're thinking about the vacation, like just which destination you want to go to, you know, if there's any like potential dates you're looking at, and just kind of get the ball rolling to tell us, you know, who you're traveling with and kind of all that. And then we will contact you from there just to chat and, you know, start putting together a proposal with different pricing and to kind of get the planning process started. But even if you don't know, you know, if you're like, I want to go to Disneyland, but I have no idea when or anything like that, you can still fill out as much of that quote form as you can. And then, you know, we'll chat with you to figure out the rest. So, but then, yeah, we're also on Instagram and Facebook, Concierge. And then Bethany and I both have our own individual Instagram accounts. So you can find us there.
Awesome. And we'll make sure to have links for all of these in the show notes. So, Lyndsey, I do have a quick question because I don't know if I know the answer to this. If someone is doing the little request a quote thing, are they able to say, hey, I'd really like to work with Bethany or Lyndsey and like request a planner through that?
Yes, totally. That is, so one of the questions is like, which planner would you like to work with? And then there's a list of all of our travel planners. We have 16 currently. Or if you don't know any of us, you know, and you're open, there's also an option where you can just say like, match me with somebody, and then we'll, you know, send it to whichever travel planner we feel is best suited for your trip.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bethany and Lyndsey, for hanging out and talking Pixar Fest and talking some travel planning stuff with us. I had a blast. I hope you guys both did too, but this was super fun.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you so much for having us.
This was so fun. Thanks, Teresa.
Well, you may have noticed some changes going on over here at DL Weekly. We have made the decision to try new ads to help support the show. If you have any great and constructive feedback, this is a learning process for us. Please write in at feedback@dlweekly.net and let us know your thoughts. Again, we're looking for constructive feedback. We're trying a couple of different things. You may have noticed that this episode, the placement's a little bit different than what previous episodes have been. So we're trying to make this still a very enjoyable listening experience for all weekly tiers. If ads are not your thing, we do invite you to go check out our Patreon page. All of our Patreon supporters get an ad-free version of the podcast updated weekly and right in Patreon. If you are a current supporter, don't forget that you can actually link that feed right to your podcast player, so you will get a notification as soon as all of these episodes go live, including bonus episodes that some of our supporters get as well. They will come right to your phone and you'll get a notification, the ad-free versions. Again, if you're interested in becoming a weekly tier, we have all sorts of fun stuff, not only our group Discord chat that we always have something fun going on, like there's trivia happening as we're recording this. We have book club events, all sorts of fun. We also have lots of different live streams that we do with supporters that are directly with Tag and myself. It's just a ton of fun. So go check it out at support@dlweekly.net.
Woo! Welcome back to Trivia Land, Chef. My name Raymond, and I hope them answers are bigger and better than this here back porch I got attached to me. Don't you know Evangeline and I wish y'all the best of luck.
Welcome back to Trivia Land, where we're going to find out the answers to tonight's questions and see how Teresa did and how you did listening at home. Teresa, how do you feel about tonight?
I'm feeling better than I did last week, so that's something.
That is something. All right.
That's better. Yeah, that's better.
All right. Well, let's see how it went. Your first question from me looking stuff up on the internet. A Mother's Day fun fact. The longest flying Tinkerbell in Disneyland history flew from 1983 to 2005 and was allowed, with doctor permission, to fly while pregnant with both of her children, born in 1984 and 1987. What was her name? You asked for a clue, and I said that she could have been a geologist, which led you to name her Roxy.
No last name needed.
No last name needed.
That was, yeah. If I didn't have that hint, I wouldn't have even had a first name. So
her name was Gina Rock.
Ooh. That was like a good double hint. Kudos to you, Vern.
Thank you.
That was good.
After Gina's mother inspected the flying harness, the doctor allowed Gina to fly up to 4 months pregnant, which luckily coincided with the winter break of Tinkerbell not flying.
Okay, that's pretty incredible. I had not heard that fun fact before. Way to go, Gina. Wow.
Yep.
Maybe her name was Maybe her nickname was Roxy.
Maybe.
Probably not.
We can contact her
see,
and ask.
this is why I love trivia. You get to learn all these fun new facts that otherwise maybe you would have never heard or learned before.
Yep. Our question from Sarah P. You recall that we have talked about Westcott, and there would have been a 300-foot replica to the 180-foot spaceship Earth within Westcott. What was the other variation to the West Coast version? Your answer was, it would have been encased in glass. The answer that I was looking for was, it was going to be gold.
Oh. Well, in my defense, all of the concept art has it as a double globe. There's a layer, a floating layer outside.
And seeing that, I see what you're seeing as I'm looking at the same images you're looking at, and I award you half credit.
Thank you.
Because you got that concept art that, yes, it does have that double encasement, but you missed that it was gold. So
yeah, well, and it also wasn't glass either, apparently. So according to this article that we can link, which is actually a really great article from allears.net, that's titled Westcott, the Disney Park That Never Was. It says Space Station Earth. So it was going to be Space Station Earth, a 300-foot golden sphere encased in a lattice of metal is what that second layer
So
is.
not the glass that you thought
Not
it
glass,
was.
but I told you I said it was transparent. So.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, nearly twice the size of Spaceship
now it's got to be quarter
Earth.
credit, not half credit.
Hey now, I'm taking all the credit I can get. But yeah, twice the size of what Spaceship Earth in Epcot is currently. So that's, it would have been twice the size.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
If only we could have seen what that could have looked like.
Yep. And your third regular round question from listener Andy M. How many teacup ride vehicles make up the Mad Tea Party at Disneyland? You had answered 15, and then you thought more about it, and you said 18. The correct answer that I was looking for was...
Drumroll, please.
18.
Oh.
With 3 turntables of 6 cups each.
Wrong. I was wrong. My math somehow still worked, but I mathed it wrong. 3 turntables
of 6 each. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So you were right while you were being wrong.
Dang. It's probably a good thing now that I'm looking at an image of the Mad Tea Party and how spaced out the teacups are because there are 6. I cannot imagine if there were 3 per, because then that'd be a really tight little. If the attraction would have been designed with my layout of 3 per and there were 16 turntables, it'd be a much more tight, crazy spin of a ride.
So I'm thinking of, did you ever have one of those spirograph drawing things? Okay, so you remember how the little gears could really, really move really fast?
Yep.
So I'm picturing 6 of those gears and thinking how fast.
My version would have been quite a wild ride.
Your version would have made a lot of sick children.
There's a reason that it's this way and not the way I explained.
Yes. Yep.
But I got there. I got the right answer.
You got there.
The wrong way, but I got it.
Yep.
I went, completely the wrong path, but it worked.
Yes. And your fourth and final regular round question from listener #SaveTeresa's You might know that on the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, you ride in vehicles or honey beehives. But can you tell me the names of each individual vehicle? Your answer was no.
No. I said I think they all start with the letter B.
B. Oh, yes. And then your answer was no.
No. I think my first answer was no. But then I thought about it. I'm like, I'm gonna have a partial answer of they start with the letter B.
Well, the correct answer that I was looking for was Blustery, Bother, Bouncy, Christopher Robin, Eeyore, Floody, Gopher, Half-a-Bee, Heffalump, Honey, Mr. Sanders, Owl, Piglet, Pooh, Rabbit, Roo, Thoughtful, spelt wrong, Tigger, Tumbly, Rumbly, Winnie, Woozy. And Rumbly, Winnie, and Woozy are set up for special needs guests.
How? You got me. Did you do that on purpose? Because the first, 3 you said all started with bees.
I read them as they were provided.
And as soon as you said Mr. Sanders, I could visualize that on the side of a vehicle.
Yeah.
Dang, I want to know how hashtag Save Teresa's Trees knows this magic.
My
Disney
guess
magic.
is
or they
that
just
was
really,
a lot of time standing in line.
Yes, I was going to say, they really, really enjoy the many adventures of Winnie the
That
Pooh.
very well could be.
Or they might be a hidden Mickey and spend lots and lots of time in the park. More than we do, so.
Hashtag Save Teresa's Trees if you would like to send an email and let us know exactly.
We need to know how you know. How did you figure that out? That's impressive.
Yep. And your bonus question tonight from listener Connor S. In the Harryhausen scene of Monsters, Inc., Mike and Sully to the rescue, there are many eyeballs throughout the restaurant. One set of eyeballs belongs to a non-Pixar character. Who is it? You answered Kermit the Frog. The correct answer that I was looking for was Miss Piggy.
No, it is not.
No, it is Kermit the Frog.
Woo! Well, okay, so you remember how we started this and you asked how I was feeling?
Yes.
I said, I was much more confident than last week.
Yes.
I really didn't do that much better than last week.
No, it was pretty similar.
I got a half a point better than last
But you felt better, and
It's true.
and
I
it's
felt
nice
better.
to feel good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's something about that.
Yes. So, well, listeners, how do you think Teresa did? How did you do listening at home? Do you have that perfect question that you'd really like to hear asked on the podcast? Feel free to send that in to us at dlweekly.net/trivia.
Well, we will be back next week with more Disneyland news and information.
Until then, go out and enjoy the parks.
And a special thank you to Sidel for editing the podcast.
Please remain seated until the podcast comes to a complete stop and the doors have opened. Then collect your belongings, watch your head, and step carefully from the episode. On behalf of all of our crew, thanks for traveling with us, and we hope you have a happy and memorable visit here at DL Weekly.